it's a really big deal that the CRM has now come into contact with so many of our characters, and there's going to be ripple effects in season 7. So we'll see more of them, and in a I would say in a bigger way than we have seen on Fear before.
Everybody, please give a nice, warm welcome to Ian Goldberg. Hi,
Hi,
Ian.
how are you?
Welcome.
Thank you
Oh my
very
gosh.
much. Thank you.
We are thrilled to have you. And this has been quite a ride. I don't know I don't know if our team told you, but we Dylan and I watch these episodes live. We don't, even though they go live on AMC Plus on Thursdays, we do not get to watch them ahead of time. So we are still in real time processing all of the events of tonight, and this was a doozy, to say the least.
You're
But I
still
think you meant it
in
that
the
way.
you're still in the fallout, as it were.
I,
You're still
the
experiencing
the
the fallout.
the literal and figurative Fear the Walking Dead fallout, indeed. But before we get into all of that, and before I interrogate you over the loss of my beloved John Dory, we like to just start our conversations by asking everybody how they're doing. How are you holding up during this whole process? Are you feeling good? Are things feeling back to normal on set? Talk to us.
Uh, I can say I'm doing pretty well. I feel very lucky that I've stayed healthy, my family's stayed healthy, and honestly, it's one of the things that kept the worst of COVID and the quarantine period so sane and manageable was that we never really stopped with the show. We had to put a pause on production, of course, for several months, but the writers' room continued to write scripts. We continued to talk about stories. We were all, the writers, the cast, the crew, we were in constant communication. So even as the world felt like it was apocalyptic, our zombie apocalypse family kind of stayed strong throughout the whole thing, and it was just a nice bit of continuity and sanity amidst what was a very obviously unstable, crazy year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I similarly, we launched this Twitch channel last September, and so having something to really, a true universe to deep dive into. Obviously, I was familiar with The Walking Dead before that, but it's like The Walking Dead will now forever be tied to my pandemic experience in the best way possible, I would say. But yeah, it's been such a pleasure, and and I have to commend, I would love to give you all a compliment before I give you a hard time about killing John Dory, but I'm just kidding. I'm not really going to do that. But I truly, so we play a game when we watch these episodes live, and it's Call Your Shot. So we predict, how many walker deaths, how many human deaths, whatever. And there were so many times when Fear came back after the mid-season premiere, where I was like betting low because I was like, oh, but they're COVID episodes, so there's not going to be a ton of walkers. There's not going to be a ton of like interaction and people. And every single week, whether we had a writer on or Michael Satrazemis on or whatever, I was blown away to see what you all accomplished during that time. I mean, truly, from our perspective, y'all didn't miss a beat.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, and we appreciate it. And that is it's a testament to our amazing crew in Austin, our cast, our directors. One of the things that we talked about when we went back into production and as we were sort of reconciling with this new reality of COVID protocols and regulations on set and doing things differently, as we said, we would hate in 5 years from now to look back and say these were the asterisk episodes, that they had a little
Mm.
star next to them that said these were done during COVID, so that's why they, you know, look different, or that's why, you know, they're not as cool or, you know, as exciting as some of the stuff we'd done before. And I think what's so remarkable is that we were able to continue to push the envelope to tell the stories that we wanted to tell while keeping everyone safe, maintaining protocols. But the show feels of a piece. Like you watch 601 to 608, and it doesn't sort of feel like then from 609 to 616 suddenly, oh, I can see where they had to change their protocols and their shooting techniques. It really feels kind of unified, and that I Andrew and I just totally tip our hats to our the people we collaborate with, which is everyone on the crew. It's pretty awesome.
It was, yeah, it was an incredible season. So I have a couple of very specific questions I would love to ask while I have you here, kind of selfishly, but hopefully the rest of the chat will be on board as well. The first thing I wanted to ask about was Teddy and the cult. So, as our friends who join us here in chat often know, I am a big horror fan, and that does extend to true crime and all the things of the like. And one of the things that I loved about the way Teddy was written was there were things in things he would say, like for instance renaming Dakota Sue, and like little things where if you know anything about how cults function and how they indoctrinate people, you're like, wow, that's a legit thing. So my question for you is, was Teddy based off of any, one story in particular? Did y'all do a bunch of research into how a figure like Teddy could exist? I'm just really curious about the backstory there.
Absolutely. You know, he is based largely on Charles Manson.
Wow.
It was something that Andrew and I both are also big true crime fans, and we I think around the time that we were thinking of this character, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had come out, and Manson was a
Mm.
part of that. Um, and it just got us talking about. I mean, we just one of our many shared interests is serial killers, and we knew that we wanted to have this be part of John Dory Sr.'s backstory, that he had been prosecuting someone like a Teddy. But the thing we got really excited about was, what would the apocalypse look like for someone like Charles Manson? And because Charles Manson was very much about what's going to happen when the world ends. We're going to go to Death
Yes.
Valley and hide ourselves away. And then when everything falls apart, we're going to emerge and rule the
The
world.
Dune
And
buggies.
so we just yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So we just thought, well, if somebody had that kind of crazy philosophy, then when the zombie apocalypse hit, they'd be thrilled because it would
Mm.
be a vindication, you know, and that's what we got excited about, is someone who wanted to bring about the end as the beginning, effectively, back in the 70s, wasn't able to, and then the zombie apocalypse came along and it says, aha, my opportunity. And it freed him from his confines on death row. And so we looked to him as an inspiration, and I think you could see it a lot in his relationship with Dakota, and calling her Sue. And you know, something else with Manson was that he said he always looked for people who were chipped but not broken. And
Mm.
you know, I think you could say that about Dakota, like someone who is still a bit malleable and still looking for, in her own way, love and acceptance in a family, but there's a little part of her that he keys onto that he can manipulate, which
Yeah.
makes it this very twisted family story. Um, but yeah, Teddy was one of the most exciting characters for us to explore. And when we got John Glover to play him, it was that just took it to a whole other level because he's incredible and just elevated it so much.
He is such a great character actor. And it's funny. I jokingly, but not joking, Scrooged is one of my favorite movies ever. And of all of the
Me
things that
too.
you could, yeah. So okay. So I mean, of all the things you could point to for John Glover, there are so many other like iconic roles. But for me, just Bryce the LA Slimeball is like the thing that I love so much.
I am so with you. He is so great in that. That's that, and on the polar opposite end, I also love him in the John Carpenter movie, In the Mouth of Madness,
Oh
and
yeah.
of course his stint on Smallville as Lionel Luthor.
He's so great on Smallville. Yes, we stand John Glover here, and it was such a treat to like see him come in, do his thing. I'm sad that our time with him was short, but he was so impactful, and he looked like he was having such a he just sunk his teeth into this role, and it was outstanding.
He really did. He really did.
Um, Well, speaking of is people that we have joined the cast this season who did not die at the end of this episode, and I have to tell you, I was kind of shocked. Oh, my dog Rufus wanted to say hello. He just woke up from his nap. I do have a dog named Rufus, but
Wait a minute.
sorry about
Before you named it that, before season 6?
that. Was his
Oh
name
my
when I got
gosh.
him? Yes,
Is
indeed.
he is he is he also a bloodhound?
He is not. He is a terrier mix that kind of looks like Baxter from Anchorman and would not have
Uh,
saved that baby. He would have, no. Rufus would have laid down and asked the walker for belly rubs, and it would have been game over. It would not have gone well.
by the way, just
But
as
he's,
a side tangent, that dog, whose real name is Wyatt,
uh
um,
huh.
is the sweetest dog in the world, but not a great barker. If you need him
Uh,
to bark on command, we had so many issues because we realized that hounds don't really bark; they're more
oh,
howlers. So some of the stuff where we wanted him to be barking at the door in the premiere episode with Morgan inside and Emil
right.
outside uh, required a lot of clever work in post production. He
Well,
was.
we would have never known. We would have never known he was that good.
I'm peeling back the curtain for you.
You really are. This is the content the people came from Talking Dead for. So I want to ask about Keith Carradine, because I truly thought that when I just didn't think that he was going to be making it out of this episode, and he and June went down, into the bunker, and fingers crossed for them, but during Talking Dead, Keith kind of said, like, he was excited, and we would find out more things about John Dory Sr. in the next season. Can you tell us? I don't know what's under wraps and what isn't, but is he joining the cast next season? Do we know that information? What can you share about the future of John Dory Sr.?
Well, I mean, first of all, I just will agree with you that we were so thrilled to get Keith in this role. It was, in the same way as we were with John Glover, Keith is a legend, and on top of that, just a really kind and nice person who, despite all of the legendary roles he's played, is just super down to earth and really inhabits that he's just such a Dory through and through. Like you really believe in his essence, in who he is, that that he is John Dory's father, and without uh, getting too far into where we're planning in season 7, he is going to play a major role in the show going forward, and you see in the finale that he ends up in the bunker with June, the bunker that Teddy uh, built for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, uh, he came a long way this season in terms of uh, facing his past demons, his past ghosts, dealing with abandoning his son and then reconciling the death of his son and saying goodbye and forgiving himself with June. Um, so there's really a long way that he's come, but Teddy did succeed in his plan.
Mm.
Teddy did bring about the end is the beginning. So, you have to imagine that that is going to weigh heavily on Dory Sr. going forward, because this is now twice that he has not been able to stop Teddy from doing horrible things. And so, yeah, that's going to be one of many things he's grappling with in season 7. But yeah, if you like Keith Carradine, as I think we all do, there's a lot more story to tell there in season 7.
Yes. Snap, 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 snaps. We love, we love, we love. I also want to talk about, so, okay, Dylan, my co-host, kind of posited this, and I wanted to, as we were chatting through the show and through Talking Dead tonight, and I wanted to sort of put it to you. So when we talk about genre, especially for Fear the Walking Dead, I feel like the Western has been really embedded into Fear for the last handful of seasons. Should we look at the bombs going off as sort of a potential move away from maybe that style of genre Western storytelling into maybe a new type of storytelling? Or are we maybe reading a little too much into that?
Maybe a little from column A, a little from column B.
Okay.
We The world has changed. The landscape has now changed. We have multiple nuclear warheads that have detonated. So that's going to change everything. That's going to change the walkers. That's going to change the living conditions. That's going to change everything about how our characters navigate this world. They just when they got a handle on how to deal with the apocalypse, now we have another apocalypse on top of the one that they've been living in. So that's going to obviously shake things up in a major way. But
Mm.
I would still say that on a macro level, it's still a Western story that we're telling, um, and also the anthological approach to the stories, which we started to really dig into in season 6. That's going to continue into season 7 as well, where we're telling these really concentrated 2 or 3 character stories that have
Mm-hmm.
true beginning, middles, and ends. And you saw at the end of season 6, the characters are all scattered in different
Yes.
locations, in different pairings, and so not necessarily saying that's who they'll be with when we come up with them in season 7, but it is. I think it's not a spoiler to say that people are scattered to the 4 corners, and they're going to be struggling to survive in this new world, and finding each other might just be a small part of how they're going to navigate that.
That's fair. That's fair. We have I have an audience question here from Slushy Shank, and they say, I have an extremely burning question. What happened to Skidmark? Where is the sweet, sweet kitty? Where is he? And I have seen a lot of people inquiring about Skidmark all night long. So, any updates on Skidmark?
Skidmark is safe. He is safe. Don't worry. He didn't wind up out in the bomb territory. So
Oh boy.
I hope that I hope that sets your mind at ease.
We're thrilled to hear this wonderful, wonderful news. um, some of these questions are very specific just to me. Sorry, people behind the scenes who wrote me all these really great, thoughtful questions, but I have like very specific things, and I've got you here, so I've got to ask. Y'all on Talking Dead, kind of got into the backstory of the submarine and the nuclear submarine and all of that. Was there any trepidation that of about maybe accidentally stumbling into a nuke the fridge kind of situation. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the idea when you're dealing with something that is so heavy and so intense, like figuring out the logistics of, okay, how can we make this plausible and make this make sense? You know what I'm getting at? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And on this, I really have to give huge credit to Andrew, because Andrew's father worked as an officer on a submarine. And so we had an incredible resource in him in terms of the reality of what life on a submarine was like, and he was invaluable in working with our production designer, and just these conversations about how we were going to build out this world. And that was truly invaluable, to making it feel real and also exciting. And I will also say that, and there's been some, a little bit of this has leaked out into the news, but we are working on telling more of the story of, or the backstory of the USS Pennsylvania.
Yes.
That
Yes.
we
Can
would,
you?
yeah, no, I can't say much other than, we're figuring it out right now. We have a story, we have script, and we're just putting the pieces in place. But it's something that we very much hope to make happen, and soon, because there's a really cool story of how that crew that we met in episode 615 met that fate, and a few other pieces of the mythology, that, again, I won't say too much beyond that, but I think it'll be
No,
a
say as
really
much as you
cool.
want. Keep going.
I see what you're trying to do.
No, it does sound very cool though, and yeah, we're when I heard that news, I was truly like, wait, is that real? Is that really happening? And then, as I sort of read more about it, I thought, how brilliant! Like, for just a little mini series to go down that on that adventure. I love that idea. Is there I mean, I know you say there's a script and all of that. Is there a tentative timeline, or do we not know yet?
We don't know yet, but I know that we and AMC want to make it happen as soon as possible. So as soon as we have more concrete info, we'll let everyone know.
Amazing. That sounds wonderful. I also have to ask you about one of my favorite moments this season. There were so many incredible character moments and all kinds of things. But one of my favorite horror moments, because I am a huge horror fan, was in Grace's dream sequence episode. Riley talking as a walker, him actually getting to speak. That was wild and so fun. And totally what I love about Fear the Walking Dead is that we can tell these really compelling human survival stories, but also get into the weirdest shit, which I love. Like, I'm so here for. So, as a nerd, I always say on this channel, like, oh, on Day of the Dead, the bub zombie, the next phase is consciousness. Like, that's so when I saw Riley talking, I was like, but of course I know it was like a manifestation. So tell me the backstory of this. Talk to me. Was it just like, oh, it was just a cool idea we had and it was a dream, so we did it? Or like, tell me everything.
Uh, well, I mean, it's one of our favorite moments from the season as well. And I think, honestly, when we started to talk about this dreamscape subconscious, of that Grace is having in that episode, part of us was just kind of opening up the throttle and saying, what are some things that we could do in this world that we would never be able to do, given the rules of our Walker apocalypse? And one of the first things that we landed on is, what if we had a Walker talk? And and that's really where it came from. And also to have Riley brutally killed earlier in the episode, have him revive as a walker, have him speak. It just, yeah, it just felt exciting to us, and so we ran with it.
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. I had to specifically shout that moment out because again, as a horror fan, it was awesome. It was so
Oh,
badass.
thank you,
Um,
thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
Nick Stahl was great
yes.
too.
Oh,
Fantastic actor. We were so excited. We got so lucky with casting this year across the board. We just really got some amazing people um, to come play with us in season six. So if you're watching, thank you to all of you.
we're watching the crowd. The chat is definitely going wild. So we have another question from chat from Angel Mitsu, and they ask: in Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead in general, there's so many intricate Easter eggs scattered in the episodes. Do you have a favorite? Love that question. We actually thought the
Hmm.
record that was playing tonight might have been Beta's band at first. And we're always kind of like keeping our eyes out for that kind of thing.
Hmm. You know, one of my favorites actually goes back to season five, and it's with Daniel and when we were in his warehouse. I believe it was episode 504, and he takes out a cigar, a very particular cigar that he has not smoked, that he's saving for a special occasion. And if you look at the brand of that cigar, uh, it may be the exact same brand of cigar that an iconic character from The Walking Dead smoked. And
Hmm.
if you want to extrapolate that maybe there was a story there at one point, uh, you could extrapolate that.
Huh. You could ya? All right. Interesting. That's awesome. Maybe will we learn more about that on the submarine? Maybe somewhere.
it's it's more of a Scott Gimple question, because it's a big universe, and there's a lot of cool stories that can be told on Fear, and across other shows, and shows yet to come. Um, and there'll be more Easter eggs that we set up in season seven that we will both pay off on Fear, and that could also live elsewhere in the universe.
Well, what a wonderful segue. Because speaking of the bigger universe, let's talk about the
Hmm.
CRM. Uh,
Hmm.
they appear to save quite a few characters at the end of this episode. And those of us who have watched World Beyond know a lot more about the CRM and their antics than the characters on Fear do. So I was a little like, oh no, I mean, that sounds like Al, and she seems to be giving it the thumbs up, but also maybe I'm a little nervous. Uh, can we expect to see the CRM more in season seven of Fear, or maybe should we expect to see some Fear characters in season two of World Beyond?
Uh, I would say more of the former. Uh,
Okay.
for the finale, we've got a CRM helicopter with a pilot that sure seems a lot like Isabel to me, uh, picking up a group of our characters and taking them off to somewhere we don't know. Um, but that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
The CRM does not like to make their presence known to people outside of themselves. We saw what happened when Al encountered Isabel last season in season five, how fraught that was just between the two of them. And it's a really big deal that the CRM has now come into contact with so many of our characters, and there's going to be ripple effects in season 7, so we'll see more of them, and in a, I would say, in a bigger way
Mm.
than we have seen on Fear before.
Ooh, that's a good nugget. I like that. Um, and of course, we have to talk about Strand. I mean, we have to talk about Strand. So, one of the things that really there is so much to unpack about Strand, and we obviously love Coleman Domingo in that role. But I guess we saw him earlier in the season have at least influence over his the Rangers, and especially when he was able to kind of convince them to sort of turn on Virginia, and but his behavior with Morgan, and over these last couple of episodes. We had Lenny James on last week, and he said that, I'm sure you've heard him say this, but I thought it was very clever that the greatest, that usual suspect line, the greatest trick the devil pulled was, convincing the world he didn't exist. The greatest trick Victor Strand ever pulled was convincing us to think better of him, that he could be capable of so much more. And I think that really came to fruition in this last episode. I mean, I in a whole episode of really terrible things, Strand saying his name was Morgan Jones made my skin crawl. Like
Mm,
it affected me. But obviously, that beautiful monologue, that intense piece, I just don't even know. Like, I don't even know what to expect. I don't know what we should think to see from Strand. I mean, from your perspective, in taking this character to a new place, especially since we've spent so many seasons with him, what was the intention to bring, and where were you intending to bring him now through the finale, launching him forward?
well, I think that that last speech that he gives after the bomb goes off and he realizes he's alive and that the place where he wound up has been spared from the worst of the effects of the bomb is a real wake up call and a real vindication for him. Because earlier in the episode, the moment you called out when he meets Howard and basically spends what he thinks is going to be his last few minutes alive lying and
Yeah.
saying he's Morgan Jones, you said it made your skin crawl. It for me when I watch it, it makes me sad because
Mm.
I believe Victor had the best of intentions in his own mind. If you go all the way back to the beginning of the season when he separated himself from Alicia and he said, "I'm going to have to
Mm-hmm.
do some things that I'm not going to like," but I think that at the end of it, he really hoped that it was going to be for the greater good of everyone. He really thought that he was going to do that, and then of course, after his action that he took when he tried to kill Morgan in 615, that everything kind of blew up in his face at that point, and he lost the respect of everyone in the group, and really was just, I think when you see him in the episode, at the beginning of this episode, and he's screaming
Ugh.
out at the walkers, he's all on his own. It's just, what have I become? It's just a self-loathing. But the great thing, and where Coleman is such a powerhouse in that monologue, is it is the complete 180 of self-loathing. It is, no, I am done doubting myself. I tried to get on board with different philosophies, different ethoses of how people were running their communities. I was, kind of on board with what Morgan was doing. I got on board, if you go way back to what Madison was doing. He's sort of seen the different ways that people run communities, but he's got his own instincts. And now he's saying, I may have done some things that weren't so great. I may have hurt some people along the way. I cracked a few eggs, but man, I've made a great omelet now. And look at me. I am, look at me. I'm a survivor. And all these decisions I made have brought me to this place. So therefore, I'm not apologizing for anything anymore. I'm not Morgan Jones. I'm Victor Strand. And this is the
Mm.
dawning of a new day. So I think in terms of going forward, you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see somebody who is self possessed, unapologetic and trusting all of his instincts, whether you like them or not. He is going to be the strandiest strand who's ever stranded.
I have to tell you, I was during that monologue, I was totally like back in my chair because I thought we were about to have a Deep Blue Sea Sam Jackson moment. I was like bracing for something absolutely horrible to happen mid powerful monologue. I was so nervous. Like a giant zombie
That would have
shark.
been very different.
It really would have. But you know, you never know on fear, so who knows?
No, no, no. I do love a good Deep Blue Sea moment. So
I
maybe
mean,
we'll try. Yeah.
deep as blue as my hat is like a shark's fin. Okay.
That's it.
Let's play a little game. Let's play a little game. For those of you in chat who are new and this is your first time, welcome. We're going to play a game called BTS or BS. Here's how this works. I'm going to read a fact, and Ian is going to later reveal if that fact is BTS true. This is a fact about Fear the Walking Dead, of course, or if it is BS false. But you all have to vote. So you vote in chat. Your letter is your vote. So T for true, W for false. And yes, I did, Dylan. Okay. So let's do it. Let's go for it. So our first fact, Ian, here we go. At some point in the season, either Teddy's beard or Morgan's beard was fake. Which beard was the fake beard? So, chat, when the poll goes live, we are going to, let's see, how are we doing on polls? Is the poll live? Yes, there we go. All right, so if you think that Teddy's beard was fake, type T into the chat. If you think Morgan's beard was fake, type W into the chat. You got 35 seconds to go. There was, as we discussed earlier, Ian, there was some beard action. That Teddy had a blowout that I was jealous of for days. That weave was beautiful. I hope it was
It was
his
a
real
mane.
hair. Oh,
It was like a lion. Yeah, yeah.
just absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. So right now, chat's got 5 seconds to go to get their votes in, but it's looking overwhelmingly like they have selected yes. So almost 70% said that they think that Morgan's beard was fake. What can you reveal? What is the BTS and what is the BS?
I can reveal that the audience is correct.
Okay, good job, chat.
And I could, yeah, and it was only for one episode. It was in 601 because Lenny came to us straight from shooting the second season of his series Save Me 2, which he just won a BAFTA for.
BAFTA. It was amazing.
Yep. Incredible, incredible. And yeah, so he's clean shaven in that show, and we knew that we needed Morgan to be the opposite of that. And you know, he was near death and hadn't seen a razor in quite a while, and we needed to be really disheveled. So so we did have to give him some fake beard for that episode. John Glover with Teddy, on the other hand, it was the opposite, where from the moment he got the role all the way through quarantine, he was sending me and Andrew photos of, it was basically like beard updates every couple months to make
the best kind of updates.
And every time we would get it, it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe, oh, it's even more magnificent. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Oh wow.
So so
it was, as we've discussed, a sight to behold, and we are all better for it. We are all better for it.
Yep. It was a character.
All right. Yes, it was. It had its own trailer and everything. All right, let's move on to our next question. So, BTS true or BS false? The weapon Emil carries that Morgan eventually takes was originally a scythe, but it was switched to an axe after testing revealed that it was too cumbersome to wield. So is that BTS true or BS false? Chat, the poll is live. You got 40 seconds to go. If you think that is true, you type T in the chat. If you think that is false, you hit W in the chat. Okay, so this is another thing I got to tell you. I thought Emil, the bounty hunter, was going to be with us like all season. Was that like, were y'all trying to kind of get us to think that this was going to be ongoing?
Yes, yeah, I mean, also we should say Demetrius Gross was incredible in the
Oh,
role, and it pained us when we saw how great he was to know that we had to say goodbye to him. But it also is that was kind of by design. We wanted to create this hopefully iconic character that the audience really invested in, um, and also some of it had to do with the title card that like we had a new title card scheme this season and doing the silhouette in 601 of what appeared to be Emil with Rufus. And then
yes.
later in the episode, Morgan takes on that silhouette. That was intentional as sort of a mislead
Yeah,
as well. And this rebirth of Morgan that he took on some of the characteristics of Emil, or at least
I
some of the
love it.
costume.
Well, yeah, mission accomplished because I totally thought he was gonna be we were gonna have like a Terminator situation like all season long. So well done. Um,
Thank
so
you.
55% of chat said that they think that the fact is BTS true, that the weapon was switched to an axe after testing revealed that the original weapon was too cumbersome to wield. Is that true or is that BS false?
That one is BS false. Uh, it
Wow.
was it was always an axe, um, and I could also when it later became the half axe, half stick, or as we call it,
Mm-hmm.
the stacks. Um, that that was a Lenny James idea. That we were on set with him during 601, and he kind of came over to us and said, "I have a question. Is Morgan Axe Man now? Is he just all about the axe?" And we said, well, that's kind of what we were thinking. And Lenny, has lived with this character for so long and knows him inside and out. Was very, I think, smartly pointed out that it's a more effective weapon if it can be wielded on both sides, and it also kind of speaks to this duality of
Mm,
new Morgan with the axe holding on to a piece of Eastman Morgan with the
yep.
stick.
Yep.
So it's sort of like the perfect fusion of these two sides of this character. So got to give Lenny props for that great idea.
I do really, really love the duality. I think that that's such a great like nod to not only him as the journey he's been on, but also for the fans. Like we associate those things together. So that was very cool. And as a reminder, chat, get active in chat, participate in the vote, put your comments in there because we are going to be doing some sub giveaways. So don't be shy. All right, next one. One of the season 6 episodes was initially written and shot entirely without walkers. Is that BTS true or BS false? So T for true, W for false. Once again, one of the season 6 episodes was initially written and shot entirely without walkers. Again, I just, I didn't notice, considering the pandemic that we all lived through and how stringent production is, I didn't notice a difference. And some of these walkers this season, the Texas Chainsaw walkers and that was so badass and awesome. And of course, the embalmed walkers was so gross. Like, y'all had some great ones this season.
Thank you. We were so excited, and have to give uh, huge credit to Greg Nicotero and his team at K and B for
Yeah.
always up in the ante and just coming up with incredibly novel, inventive horrifying ways to redefine these walkers season to season. And there's a lot more of that to come in season 7. There's some that are so weird and scary and nightmarish in ways that feel really fresh and different, which is pretty amazing this deep into uh, the universe.
I loved that little tease that was given during Talking Dead about the radiation and the after, like I love that. So 86% of chat thought that fact, one of the season 6 episodes was initially written and shot entirely without walkers, was true. So which was it, Ian? Is that BTS true or BS false?
It is true, and it was episode 609, uh, the uh, the episode that was the final episode of Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's a strange thing because when we approach these scripts, you know, walkers are such a big part of it, and we realized when we got into it that we just had not put any in. I think because we were so kind of consumed with the human drama between Virginia and Morgan and sort of the final, gathering clouds of the war and the storm and sort of this end of Virginia that we watched the cut and we just were like, wow, there's no walkers in the episode. And
Mm.
it didn't really bother us that much, but we thought, it might be good to have some walker presence. So we had to get a couple pickups anyway, and we decided to put one in. You'll see it's in the scene where Sherry approaches Virginia. She's under a log and she nearly kills her, and Morgan stops her. We did when we were getting some pickups there. We added a walker just because we thought we can't have a walker free episode. There's got to
I
be
mean,
one here. So yeah,
I think.
it's
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, that's it. That's it.
I think that this, in the COVID-6 of Mothership, it was the first time ever there was an episode where no walkers and no people get killed. And that was the first time ever. And when they said that fact on Talking Dead, we were all just like, "Oh my god, what? That's wild!"
That's
Uh,
Brit is wild.
yeah, but all right. And speaking of Skidmark, since we have addressed that he is okay and he is safe, so if you're just joining us and you missed that part of the conversation earlier, do not fret. But BTS true or BS false? Skidmark's owner was a walker in season 3 through 5 of The Walking Dead. So get those votes in. BTS true, you type T into the chat, or BS false, type W into the chat. Yeah, I gotta tell you, like, no exaggeration, people were really curious about Skidmark tonight. We got a lot of questions about him.
Understandably, it's there was enough bleakness in this last episode that we have to make sure that Skidmore and Rufus. Did anybody ask about Rufus?
Well, I think everybody felt like they saw Rufus at the end, so they knew that he, made it, at the very least, he and the baby made it to
Right.
Morgan. So, but I'm sure, I mean, I'm concerned that a nuclear bomb. Yeah, TWD universe, lots of people in our chat are very concerned about, nuclear bomb and poor little doggy. So, hopefully they're going to be okay.
They're both they're I can report they're both okay. I can
Love
confirm
it.
they're both
Love
okay.
it. Love it. All right, so Wes is on it. All right, so 57% said BS. They think that fact a very nope. Skidmark's owner was a walker in season 3 through 5 of The Walking Dead. Majority of chat said false. BS. Ian, what's the skinny on that one?
False.
Ah,
Unless there's something I don't know. That sounds like BS to me.
fair enough. Fair enough. All right, last one before we get into something very special and we let you go for the night. A very close family member of one of the showrunners played a small but pivotal role in season 6. Is that BTS true or BS false? You got 45 seconds, chat, to get your votes in. So T for true, W for false. Um, I have to imagine that, when you're spending these long days on sets and you're on location in Austin, that, you want to try to have your family close by if and when you can. I voted true on this one. It looks like chat is voting with me. But we'll see how it works out. It's looking like, yes. So with just 5 seconds to go, 86% of chat says BTS true. A very close family member of one of the showrunners played a small but pivotal role in season 6. So tell us, what do you got?
It is true. It is my brother, Noah Kyle. He played the role of Ranger Cameron. Uh, so he kind of got the full Fear the Walking Dead experience. It was a small but pivotal role. He got to play both a human and a walker. He got to and a kind of a he had some really fun stuff to do as a walker too, because he was tied up in barbed wire. He got to be killed by John, or he got to be put down by John Dory.
Love it.
And then, of course, he was in that scene in the pit, in the grave with John Dory and Garrett, and he got to be directed by Lenny in that
Wow.
episode. And so he really got the full, and killed by Zoe Colletti, even though we didn't see it happen. But so yeah, he really acted with Coleman, acted with Alicia. It was like a Fear the Walking Dead 101, and he had a
Wow.
great time.
That's amazing. What an incredible opportunity. And I love that. That's so fun. All right. Well, chat, sound off. What would you like to see in season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead? I want to know you got like 60 seconds to tell us your most anticipated hot takes, things you want to see. Um, I truly, Ian, do not know. I know we've just spent like an hour talking about it, and I just watched Talking Dead talking about it, but I truly have no idea what to expect next season. I
That that makes me very happy, actually. Uh, I, in that case, I'm just going to shut up because I don't want to spoil anything. But if
I mean, you can tell
you,
us a little. Actually, okay, so I will. I know that we have a little something to show chat, which is very exciting. But I am seeing, so I gotta ask about it because this has been coming up a lot, especially over these last couple of episodes, especially with characters alluding to her. Gotta ask about Madison. Gotta ask about
mm.
Madison. I'm seeing chat blow up. I know that if she were to reappear, that would be a huge reveal. So likely you cannot say much. However, my co-host Dylan, who is an incredible playwright and screenwriter in his own right, always says that the TV rule is if you didn't see them die on screen, then you know that is not guaranteed. Would you agree or disagree with that assessment?
uh, I think that's an interesting rule, and I can understand uh, where he's coming from. Absolutely. I can't say whether that'll be the case here, but um, that's very interesting. And um, as far as Madison has never not been a presence on this show, even
Yeah.
after her exit in the middle of season 4, after her sacrifice for her family. Um, Her legacy has continued to live on, and we saw that this season. through Alicia, and that will certainly continue as well. So what we have planned beyond that, uh, we'll see. But you know, um, that yeah, that's that's pretty much as I can really say about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's take a look at the exclusive little sneak peek tease that you have for us. I believe there is a photo that we get to take a look at.
One of our episodes in season 7. We're already deep into production, and Clark, you brought up the walkers in season 6, and
Yes.
this is one of our walkers in season 7, and
Wow. Look at that.
I'm not sure if you can tell on the left side of the frame there, but his body has been fused and melted to a shopping cart
Oh,
um,
cool.
from
Okay.
from the force of the blast of the nuclear bomb, and you see how
Wow.
charred his skin is. It's really just, this is just a preview of how horrific and scary these walkers can be, and the effects that something like a nuclear warhead detonating can have. So we wanted to show this as a preview for how much the world is going to change in every way.
Wow. Everybody always teases me because I think that the walkers are, some of them are just truly beautiful, like truly exquisite works of art. As a horror fan, anytime you see something so practical, you just have such an appreciation for it. And so this is a pretty cool looking walker, I gotta tell you. I mean, um, yeah, that's great.
Well, there's a lot more where that came from. So get excited for season 7, because this is just an amuse bouche for
Ah,
for what we've got planned.
oh my gosh, you must have read my.
Maybe not the most. This isn't the most appetizing amuse bouche
I
by a step,
mean,
but
I have been watching Hannibal again recently, and so you're like speaking my language with the um. So I appreciate the comment. Absolutely. Well, this has been great. Actually, last thing before I let you go, Fear. You said you're already in production. How has it been going? Are you jazzed? Are you in Austin now? Like, how what's the vibe on set, especially now that the premiere, or excuse me, the finale is finally out there?
I am currently in LA. I'm not in Austin at the moment, but obviously Andrew and I are both talking to everyone down there every day, and everything's going great. We're uh, we're still we're still filming with our COVID protocols, of course, and it's quite hot in Austin at the moment.
Yeah.
We're not used to shooting in the summer. We usually wrap around May, but because of our new schedule from having to shut down for COVID, so we're navigating that a little bit. It's Texas weather can be a bit unpredictable, and hot and lots of lightning in the summer. So that's a challenge, but everybody's in great spirits. We're we're it's a I think uh, it's going to look like a whole different show next season. It already does with the dailies we're getting and the cuts that are coming in. It feels like, honestly, it feels like a different planet with how much the landscape has changed. Everything from the costumes to the landscape to the walkers, everything. Andrew and I talk a lot about reinventing the show every 8 episodes every season, but this is by far the biggest reinvention that we've done. So I cannot wait to share it with everybody.
Well, we can't wait to watch it. And this season of Fear the Walking Dead has been such a ride. And as I said, I have no idea what is in store for the next season, but I know that I can't wait for it. So, Ian, thank you for being so generous with your time and your insight, and for providing that exclusive peek at a very cool looking walker. This was such a treat for us. So thank you, really.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, anytime. Best of luck on the shoots. Hopefully we'll be talking to you and the team again soon. We can't wait for the new season. So take care.
You too. You too.